Welcome back, gang, for the first time and hopefully many more to come. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the notifications right here, this little bell, so you can get those emails every time we go live. Peace.
Podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
What broke him down? Was it just the body punching? I was hitting him with body punching. I heard him actually, he was crying in there. You were saying that Biggs was crying when you hit him? Yes. When did that happen? And perhaps the fourth round on.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
So that you knew you had him by that time. Absolutely, but I knew you were tough and you were taking those punches.
Productions.
Making women gestures like, oh.
Let's go, champ.
Welcome back. Quick pause. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of The Boxing Voice. I am your host, Nesta Gibbs. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at NestGTO. Catch me undefeated on Border Wars, holding that IBF title, like my man Errol Spence, who put on a great performance last night. We will be talking to you about that and see exactly where should he go. Talk about his post-fight interview, talk a little bit about Robert Easter Jr. and Javier Lerabejón Fortuna, Marcus Brown making a statement performance, Billy Joe Saunders staying active, and we got more headlines to bring you. I'm going to head on out to the Golden State, to the home of my co-host, whose intro I still do not have. Hopefully he's on point.
Don't have it? Oh my God, that's so sad. Don't worry, I got it.
Dolly Beyonce Production.
This is a beautiful performance against a very tough guy in Michael Johnson. How do you feel about it?
Fuck that. Conor McGregor.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
You know me, Larry. From a wicked entrance, from a flip over the rock into a knockout. Now, when the main thing is, I just help the guy. I wish.
ThaBoxingvoice.com.
Yes, the hipsters here. Haters beware. And Errol Spence, who's definitely not a guy that has a lot of haters right now, put on a clinic last night against Lamont Peterson, the durable, always perennial contender in boxing right now. And obviously the co-main event, Robert Easter Jr. picking up that narrow, controversial decision against Javier Fortuna. Marcus Brown picking up an emphatic win. Billy Joe Saunders getting an announced fight against Martin Murray. Oh, man, so much to get into. Terry Flanagan versus Maurice Hooker on that card as well. And we're going to chop it up. It's going to be a fun, jam-packed show. Good to have the callers back as well. You know, with Ness back, in LA for Border Wars, we had no callers. It's good to have the callers back. Like guys like Amin and the like. It's going to be good to hear them and hear their opinions on the event last night and what we saw in the ring.
Definitely. Well, let's get right into it, man. Let's play Earl's little soundbite here and see, can't we, I guess, recreate the emotions that he sent through boxing fans.
What would you like to do with your next fight?
Everybody know I'm waiting on sometimes Thurman. I've been waiting for a long time. Since I was 15 and 0, I've been calling this guy out, and he keep making excuse after excuses. You need to hurry up and come back, fight a little tune-up fight, and then let's fight. I'm waiting on him. Let's get it on, man.
So, Matt, sometimes Thurman, he said, I know we spoke about it yesterday, but it's something that I really enjoyed. I think it's something that's going to stick around. It's something for the boxing fans to grab onto, kind of a narrative for the media, a storyline. I like the way this one is marinating. And I'll stop there. I have other things to talk about in this little Errol Spence speech.
I think the sometime line was perfect. I mean, obviously that line is instantly quotable. That's instantly a meme. In today's age of 180 characters, or now was it 280 characters or less on Twitter, you need quick little bits of information for promos like that. And when you're going to see the Thurman versus Spence promo, either the end of this year or 2019, they're going to have that sometime clip in there, mixed in with montages of them, knocking out people and hurting people. You're going to hear that. You're definitely going to hear that 100%. I thought it was a stroke of genius for a guy that usually isn't the best on the mic or is the most charismatic on the mic. Spence is continuing to evolve in that category. And he also, I think, did very well in First Take before the fight as well. He's continuing to evolve in that category.
Yeah, man, he seems to have his foot on Thurman's neck, man. This would all be good and exciting for me if Thurman weren't hurt. So how should boxing fans be receiving the pressure that Errol is putting on both Keith Thurman and his fans?
I don't know how they should perceive that or take it. I don't think I think how they are is very different, because it's very noticeable how they are reacting to this fight, the marination, the build-up, and so forth. The majority of the boxing community, in my opinion, is seemingly pro-Spence and anti-Thurman. That the majority of the boxing fandom and community, the industry, whatever it may be, they're on the hype train for Spence. They've jumped off the Thurman train maybe a while ago. I don't know what it is, but they're thinking that Thurman's ducking him. They're thinking Thurman is sometime Thurman, not one-time Thurman. That he hasn't knocked out a elite level guy, and Errol Spence is continuing to finish guys. You're going to hear that narrative, and I think the fans, no matter what I think they should do, what they are doing is backing Spence 100%. Whatever Spence is doing is correct.
So, excuse me, what did you think of the performance? Did he live up to, I guess, all the hype surrounding him?
I think so. I mean, first off, he didn't lose a single round, in my opinion. I really don't like using boxing statistics, like punch statistics. But he landed, I think, on CopyBox, I think it was 50% of his power punches. That's an astounding stat to have in a fight, when you land every other punch, basically, that's a power punch. So he was damaging Lamont Peterson. Me and you were noting on the live fight chat, Lamont's face was red and getting swollen up by what, the third round? Fourth round, maybe, at the most. Spence instantly found his range, instantly started just boxing him, picking him apart. His work rate was not a lot, but to me it was impressive, because to me it showed composure. To me it showed that he was an elite level thinker in there, as well as a fighter. That he wasn't going in there trying to bum rush Lamont Peterson. He was picking him apart, single shots. He was outboxing him. Errol Spence delivered a shutout performance, a dominant performance. Errol Spence delivered on everything that you want to see if he is the truth in your eyes.
I did like the way that he stood composed behind the jab. He worked it up and down. He kept shooting that left hand to the body. And then he just really picked it up with the body work. But I think that ultimately the issue for Peterson was just he was not able to hurt Spence or affect Spence.
Agreed. I think, and plus he just seemed like he wasn't composed in there, almost in a way. Like Lamont never felt comfortable in there from the looks of it. Like he never was getting behind the jab. He was content with backing up with his hands up in the high guard position, eating shots. To me, he did everything wrong. All the wrong things he needed to do in this fight, he did. All the right things I wanted him to do, all the right things I know he could do, he didn't do. He didn't execute a game plan at all. The same Lamont that we know, that is hot and cold, that has off nights at the highest level, showed up. This is the Lamont we know. The Lamont Peterson has a clear ceiling, where he is a bottom half of the top 10 guy, puts on good fights, occasionally good, really great performances, but he's never going to beat the A guys. That's not Lamont.
No, I mean, look, it's hard to disagree because even when you said occasionally great performances, I said to myself, really, who'd he beat up in great fashion? That's on this level, because
I'll put it this way: occasionally great performances against maybe like a C and D level guys. Absolutely, like a David Avanesian, he looked like a really
and versus a Kendall Holt, yes, but that's what I'm saying on this level.
On this level, he looks like a average fighter almost. Unfortunately.
So what's next for Lamont? What's next for him? Because we know him to take plenty of time off.
True. I don't know if he's going to take some time off or not. I don't think it really matters. My thing is that Lamont can easily be here for the next 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years, collect paychecks, beat top 20 guys, here and there, fight 3 times a year, and make a living. Like, Lamont may not be that guy to be a champion, but being at worst 7
well, that's what I'm trying to say, Matt. The man he's only fought twice in the last 3 years.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that infrequent. Hopefully he
like after Felix Diaz, which you thought he lost, he took 2 years off before he fought David Avanesian in February of 2017, and he just came back damn near a year later.
Was it an injury? Was it an injury?
No clue.
I could probably look that up after we
it wouldn't matter.
It does matter to me. Let's say it's an ACL tear. That's very different. If he's
I'm just saying, what's next for him, because he seems to always take these breaks off.
I doesn't matter if he takes the breaks off. I think what's next for him is to continue to be a perennial top contender of the division and put on decent performances. Continue to beat top 15.
Yeah, but how do you do that if you keep taking a year off? Like, it's, remember, he missed the whole 2012 too. Like, it's in his DNA to take off years.
Again, I think that shouldn't be an issue, because if he comes back in a year, he can collect another paycheck. In my opinion.
All right. So who would you like to see him next? What's next for Lamont Peterson? Answer the question.
Obviously, I think you want to sort of gear him towards maybe like an Amir Khan fight, that not being the next fight. But that's
a good fight for Amir, being as though they have that history, and Peterson now looking more beatable. We spoke about his inactivity. There's a storyline with Khan in the rematch.
Maybe like a Sammy Vasquez, another guy that's coming off a loss. Been away for a bit, been looking for a fight.
Those are the guys that Lamont beats. I like a Collazo, though. What about Collazo? I don't know why I'm so high on Collazo. I just feel like he gives up a better performance.
I feel like he's going to be geared towards another big name. Even though he's coming off the layoff because of the injury, he did get a big win in his last fight against Sammy Vasquez, who I just mentioned. I'm assuming Luis Collazo is going to position himself for a good paycheck, assuming at the Barclays Center for somebody, maybe Danny Garcia after the Brandon Rios fight. Something like that. If that's not in the books, if that's not on the table, then yeah, I think Luis Collazo versus Lamont Peterson on paper is a fantastic fight. That would be very intriguing to watch. And that's a perfect, in my opinion, toe-for-toe Tuesday. That's what toe-to-toe Tuesdays should be in terms of main events, is those types of fights.
Lamont Peterson versus who?
Luis Collazo.
Wow, that's a toe-to-toe Tuesday, man. I think that's
what toe-to-toe Tuesdays should morph into, is those type of main events.
I mean, that would be good for us, the boxing fan, for sure.
And you put some prospects that we never heard of on the telecast. You put a recognizable contender, veteran in the main event, and then you put prospects on the rest of the card. That's what toe-to-toe Tuesday should be.
So where do you see Lamont now, I guess, after the loss?
I mean,
he was top 5, right? Errol said, Al, I only want top 5 guys.
It was not top 5. It was not. Well, there's no way you can argue that he was top 5.
Jeff, Earl, Danny, Sean, Lamont, Jesse. All those guys are like same after their Horn,
Okay. I definitely don't think he's number 5. I just don't think that.
Arguably.
You can maybe slip him in there, but again, I don't think.
I mean, with the inactivity, I guess it is
I'll
difficult.
put it this way. With this performance, you can't say he's top 5. You can't. You can't. I'm sorry.
Well, it was a past tense thing. It was a was.
Even then, a win against David Avanesian does not make you a top 5 welterweight. I'm sorry, Lamont Peterson.
Yeah, no, I think we're going based off overall resume, what he's done throughout his career, and assessing him versus everyone else, right? Like, we knew what would happen yesterday, but we also have an order, right? Like, if you have Earl or Keith at the top, everyone else falls under that, and Lamont happens to fall top 10. The rumor is Jesse's going straight at a Keith Thurman. And I know, there's plenty of fighters out there too, if you're with the Al stable. So maybe these possibilities don't sound as sexy because they seem almost a bit regurgitated. But I guess just for Lamont's career's sake, right? Like, maybe Lamont coming back off to face maybe Sean off the injury.
No.
Or is that too big off of a loss?
That's way too big off a loss. Sean Porter is the mandatory to Keith Thurman after this Jesse Vargas voluntary. I'm assuming Sean Porter's just going to wait for that fight. And again,
hypothetically speaking, he may not take a Thurman fight due to the hand actually being broken. Last night on the telecast, they did say it was broken.
Again, even if that is a hypothetical in your scenario, Lamont's not taking that fight. That'd be any manager worth his salt would tell Lamont, you don't take Sean after he just got beat the fuck up, not in those words, by Errol Spence.
True.
Come on, man.
So Lamont is a good name for a guy like Omar moving up in the welterweight division, right? Actually, Omar's staying at 140, isn't he?
No. Come on, man. Omar beat Robert Guerrero by knockout at 140.
So that's a perfect fighter for a Omar, because he's a guy moving up a couple of divisions. You just don't know if he could plow through a Lamont just yet. He's still the smaller guy. No one will call him the sharpest guy, So technically, Lamont may still hold the skill department. Will Omar's youth prevail?
I think it's a fun fight. That 100% is not the next fight for Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson's not facing another one of Al Heyman's recognizable names who's coming off a win. Lamont's facing a relative unknown, maybe Eastern European, no name, in a tune-up.
Diego Chavez type?
Yeah, maybe Diego Chavez type. I like that, especially since Diego Chavez was just
Adrian Granados, maybe?
No,
too rough.
A little bit too rough. But again, those names.
DeMarco. I hear DeMarco didn't retire, and he's been winning some fights somewhere.
I don't mind that, but is DeMarco with Heyman, or is he with?
They've done business. They've been in bed together. DeMarco's got 2 wins so far.
Then I don't mind that fight at all. I know
Omar Figueroa, go figure.
I think those like the Omar Figueroa types. I think those are a great second fight back from this loss for Lamont Peterson, not the first fight back. But in terms of your original question as to where does this put Lamont after this fight in terms of rankings, he was top 5 arguably. I don't think this really changes that much. Do we come out of this fight changing our opinion on Lamont Peterson? Not really. I think most people have a already cemented opinion on the guy as a fighter and a boxer, and that was probably reinforced, I would say, in this fight. Not taken away.
Yo, I just got caught up in BoxRec, man. Somehow there's a Dominican welterweight that just beat Carlos Molina that got deported for he was charged with some sort of sex offender charges is what I remember.
Okay.
But somehow he fought because he went from Mexico, I guess, to the Dominican Republic and fought this guy at welterweight. Molina, I don't even know how. I mean, he's as old as Laura, and he fought Laura at 54. How did he make 47 at this day and age is shocking to me. But this kid's also beat up Patrick Lopez. Is that the same? It is.
What is up, TBV family? Yes, YouTube has been cutting funding to their channels as of late, and with net neutrality going through its process, the internet is changing. If you want to keep your favorite channel intact, coming up with tons of content, and plus get hours and hours of extra content, head over to patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice to become a member of the TBV family and help support the channel. Peace.